here, and I really appreciate all the challengers coming out to be with us tonight and bringing your friends too. You all are amazing. Did you ever imagine that losing weight could be anything but pain and suffering? You know, challengers, do you feel that it is possible to be successful and not have it be pain and suffering? Yes, 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 we can do it. My area of expertise really has become, over the last decade or so, weight loss, and particularly weight loss for women over 35. And I wish we had some of those here tonight. But I'll just do it anyway. And then, of course, you cannot help hundreds of people lose weight without eventually, whether you want to or not, learn a thing or two about motivation. Why is it we never seem to run out of pounds to lose before we run out of motivation? Why is that? So over probably the last 3 years, I've studied motivation extensively. What is it? And most importantly, when we don't have any of it, how can we get it? I just was on a downward spiral and stuck in this vicious cycle. Maybe you can relate to this. Overweight led me to being depressed. Being depressed led me to having pain worsen with fibromyalgia. The depression and the pain led me to want to self-medicate with food, which made me more overweight, which made me more depressed, which worsened my pain, and so on and so on and so on, until finally in 2000 I hit a personal rock bottom. So what am I doing differently now? Well, a sensible, healthy diet. Before, I always tried to be perfect. You know, I got the diet book and it said to eat these foods at this time, this way, standing on one leg, this hand behind your back. I tried to follow it exactly like it said, and then if I wasn't following it exactly like I said, I was telling myself I failed. And so back and forth. Do you relate to that, by the way? All or nothing, over and over and over again. And so now what I do is I took being perfect off the to-do list. Off. Not even trying for it anymore. We as women may have racked up 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year histories with weight struggles. Yes? Okay? And through that, we may have acquired a lot of misinformation, like I did in reading one diet book after another. Probably one of the most frequent things that I hear people say is, Zoe, I know what I need to do, I'm just not doing it. And when I hear that, I immediately know that there's one of two things happening. The most common is that over 20 years, they've acquired a whole bunch of misinformation that has now robbed them of their motivation. And we really have to start by suspending what we think we know and suspending our emotional charge around our weight. Anybody got one of those? Uh-huh. In order to start today to just listen and see if we can't put something new in that clicks. Now in 2008, what do we have in our toolbox for coping with life? Food. Food. It's cheap, it's legal, and there's 24/7 access to it. And it works. It works. We need to calm down. It delivers every single time. The problem is that it delivers with some serious negative side effects, right? The remorse, the self-loathing, the health problems, all of those are things that we didn't bargain for when we were using it to calm down. Our genes, our biological programming, make it really easy for us to store fat. You feel like that? Did you feel like that before? Okay, how did this happen? And this is from the words of Kelly Brownell out of Yale University. And he talks about how over thousands and thousands of years, our genes evolved to get really good at storing fat. You know, here's the scenario. 10,000 years ago, we're spear hunting people, and there's a famine that comes along. And people who are good at storing fat, what happens to them? They live. And all those skinny people, not so good at storing fat, what happened to them? They were goners, right? So then those people good at storing fat, they had little babies that were good at storing fat, and then another famine hit, and this repeated over and over and over again over thousands of years until, ta-da! Now here we are, the elite fat conservation machines of America. Yes. If we do a diet, and I'm at the bottom of that arrow, we try to stretch all the way up to the ultimate version of ourselves in one step. And oh my gosh, that's really, really a lot of tension. And I can't take it, right? Can't take it for very long. However, if instead we take a lifestyle change, we can just stretch from the bottom of one arrow up to the top. And I'm not actually putting any stretch on the rubber band at all. And this rubber band represents my comfort zone. So I'm not stepping outside of it. I'm just stepping to the edge of it. And the interesting thing is over 4, 5, 6 weeks, my comfort zone actually redefines around my new behaviors. And they feel completely normal and natural to me. What is it you really want to create for yourself? When we get clear on the vision, then all the steps that we take to create the vision feel empowering. They feel joyful. They make life feel invigorating again. And that is the blessing of taking a creating approach. And that's the process that we help women move through every day at Ultimate You.